Friday, family, and welcome to our Boss Up Show presented by Hope TV. Listen, we are the House of Hope Atlanta. Dr. E. Dewey Smith Jr. is our pastor, and we believe that life with God is better in every way, every day. Thank you for joining us. Listen, if you're on your social media device right now, what we want you to do is on all of your social media outlets, will you post this video, share it with your friends, share it with persons who you know are business owners and entrepreneurs, because tonight we have some amazing guests that are going to help us boss up. So I want to introduce our topic, which I believe is a very relevant topic. We're going to talk about how do you make that pivot? There are a lot of business owners who have had to shut their doors. They've had to change the way that they do what they do. And so we want to kind of encourage you tonight and give you some tips on how you can pivot from what you were to what you need to be in order to survive this very interesting and different business climate. So I want to introduce these amazing guests that we have with us tonight. We have Nancy Russell Stewart with us. She has been a child care professional for 15 years, and she's the owner of Jen's Family Child Care Home. She enjoys preparing children for the pre-K environment. Will you join me in welcoming Nancy Russell Stewart? Say hello to everybody tonight.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Listen, our producers never disappoint us. They always make sure that we have guests who can share from their wealth of wisdom and experiences. And so we also have Jocelyn Dion Jones with us. She's the founder of Kappa Learning Group, which is a professional development organization. And she believes in sharing knowledge, educating, and training, and also coaching early child care professionals using research-based information. Will you join me in welcoming Jocelyn Dion Jones? Say hello to everyone tonight.
Hi, everybody. Good evening.
Welcome, 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 Boss Up family. I see you guys joining us. Don't be afraid to talk back to us while we're talking with you. We want this to be a conversation, right? It's Friday night. You're sharing your Friday night with us. So if we make a point that resonates with you or something that sounds interesting to you, I want you to post something in the comments to let us know that you're with us tonight. So I want to just jump into the topic because I believe this topic is going to bless a lot of our viewers. I want to ask you first, Jocelyn. Share with us what you believe is the difference between a gift and knowing what you do should be your profession. And you know why I'm asking that? Because some people kept their cousins' children for several years, but that doesn't mean they need to open up a child care center, right? So I want to ask you, Jocelyn, how do you know if what you do as a child care giver or child care professional is a gift or something that you need to make your profession? Talk to us.
Well, you definitely in childcare, you definitely have to know that it's a passion and a gift, because a lot of times financially the money is not there. So it's really something that you have to be gifted in and passionate about, because it's the passion that keeps you going, and it's your gifts that will make room for you. So, you can develop the passion. You may not have it right off, because we all have, different walks of life, and, and different situations bring us to a certain destination. But when you get there and you feel like you have a love for children and so forth, you definitely have to dive deep, because you are influencing, our young children. So you definitely have to know if this is just something that's almost like a trend, or something that you want to just have interest in, or is it really something that you're gifted in and passionate about? Because that is what's going to keep you going, is your passion. Because, I do know I've been in early childhood for about 24 years, and I've seen so many child cares come and go, and people in and out the industry. And how do you know that that person is really passionate? A lot of times, we get tired of early childhood because it's very hard to really dive into. There's so many different things that we have to do in early childhood that can be very challenging. But I know people who really have a passion because they go out of the industry and then come right back. Nice. It's something that draws them back. So you really have to question yourself. Is this really a gift, a passion, or is just an interest that you have. But either way, it's always a blessing to be a blessing to children and educating children, and being
Yeah.
an influence. But definitely, you
Yeah.
got to be gifted in
Yes.
this
So let
industry
me
and passionate.
let me jump let me jump in right there because you made me think about the question a little differently. So when I was asking you guys about that, I was saying, how do you know? Because we let's use beauty, the beauty industry. There's some beauticians
Hmm.
who do beautician or who do hair in their kitchen, right? You got the kitchen
Hmm.
beautician.
Hmm.
But then you
Hmm.
have, and really, there's no difference in skill. There's some great beauticians who only do hair at their house, but then you have the beautician who has the shop, right? And there's a
Right.
different kind of vibe that you get. And so I was asking you guys, how do you know when it's time and you've grown out of the kitchen and it's time to get
Mm.
your own shop where you have other stylists and you may have a franchise where you have several shops. But I think what I heard you saying is it begins with passion on both sides. Whether you're the
Yes.
Yeah.
kitchen beautician or the shop beautician, you got to
Hmm.
love it.
Hmm.
But I
You do.
want, as I talk with you, Nancy, I want you to kind of talk to us about on the professional side. How did you know that you needed to make this your 9 to 5 versus something that you did just to pay your, bills every now and then, or something that you did for your family members? How did you know that you needed to open up your own child care facility?
Um, I guess because the way I got into it was because my daughters, they wanted me to stay at home with them to take them where they needed to go, on events and everything. So that's how I got started. So at first it was like, okay, this might not work because the money, like she was saying, sometimes the money is not there. You got to love what you do. So as time progressed on, I did love even more. I wanted to do this. I wanted to learn the kids, and get them ready for pre-K.
So I want to stay with you a little while, Nancy, if that's okay, because I know a little bit of your story. Both of these ladies have very impressive resumes. We couldn't read all of their qualifications, but Nancy, you specifically, you made a pivot already. You started out as a CNA, right?
Yes,
And so,
I'm still at.
oh, you're bivocational. That's even better. So talk to us about how you made the shift from taking care of adults, right, to now
Yes.
providing childcare. How did you make that pivot? Talk to us, the queen of pivot. Talk to us. Tell us about that.
Um, it's it was easy. I mean, because when you love people, it's easy to transfer over. So I love taking care of adults. I have fun with them, like we travel or do things together that sometimes I can't do with kids. But it was a joy just doing both. And from time to time, I do still do my CNA. So it's like private duty. So I still have a chance to interact with adults as well as the children too.
So let's stay there a little bit. Do you think that in terms of how you provide the care, that there's more risk or liability with children versus adults? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, yes, it is. Because kids easily can fall and hurt themselves, and I'm liable. With adults, they have insurance. Even the kids have insurance, and I have insurance too. But with kids, it's a little difficult because um, if they hurt themselves, we have to take them to the emergency room, and get care for them. When as adult, adults can take care of themselves. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But with
yeah.
kids,
So there's a different level of responsibility. There are certain assumptions that you can make about an adult who is
Mhm.
able-bodied, things that
yes,
they can do for themselves, but you actually have to teach a child. So you're actually teaching the children and caring for them at the same time, teaching them how to be careful. That's an
yeah,
interesting
being
distinction.
safe. Yes,
Yes. So I want to pause because this conversation is already getting good. Welcome. If you are just joining us, I need all of our viewers to share this video on all of your social media pages and invite your friends because Nancy and Jocelyn are helping us boss up tonight. So I really need you to share this. Share, share, share. All right. And if you have a question or you have a comment, will you post it in the comment sections? We are in a quasi live setting, so we can answer your questions while we are actually talking. So I wanna kind of come back to you, Jocelyn, and ask you a question specifically about how you got into this profession. Kind of tell us a little
Mhm.
bit of your story. How did you become a
Yes.
child care professional? What inspired you to do this? Because it takes a lot of, like
Yes.
you said, and endurance.
Yeah,
So how did
it
you get into
does.
this?
Yes. So my start of childcare began um, while I was 13 years old. I had my own babysitting business. And so my mother, she was a provider too, in-home childcare provider. So I kind of was raised in the early childhood environment. And so that really planted a seed in me to really have a love for children. I remember I would used to help her, teach the kids and help change diapers, feed the babies, and so forth. And that was back in the day because I'm an 80s baby. So that was
Yes,
back in the day
80s.
when that was back in the day when we didn't have those rules and regulations and things. So, my mama had like 15 kids running around in the yard, and she was everybody's mama, so I was really
Yeah.
raised around it. So her clientele was my clientele. And so when the parents need to go out or have a good time or just need a breather, they would call me and ask me to come over and take care of the kids. And like I said, my mom was she was a really a community leader. She catered to single parent moms and married moms. My mom was married as well, my dad. And my dad would come home. He worked at GM. So he'd come home with 15 kids in the yard. And so that's really how I got started. And then as I progressed and got older, I went to Bethune-Cookman and I started
All right.
volunteering at a child care. Yeah, BCC.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Yes.
And I
HBCU.
started volunteering in a child care, and I just loved it. And I was also in the a youth leader. Also, I grew up AME, so in the YPD department, I was president. I was
Yes.
youth
I know
choir
about YPD.
over the youth choir. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's really how I got started. I got started very, very young, in early childhood, and then it just progressed. So now I'm in early childhood. I have my own in home, just as my mother has, but now it's more so I've gotten older, and now just like Miss Nancy, she also deals with adults, and now I'm dealing with adults because I teach
Oh wow.
online at Ashworth College, and I'm also a Georgia State trainer here. So I really, really enjoy training. I've done training for a very long time as well, and so I, transitioned into not just children. I'm kind of leaving off of that because I'm getting older, and now I'm really
You
loving
still
to
young.
train. Yeah. So.
Wow. Well, let's pause right there because you shared so much in your story that we can kind of delve into, and I want to press you on some things. So you talked
Okay.
about doing church work, and
Hmm.
in my early career as a pastor, I did a lot of youth ministry, and
Yeah.
so I learned in doing youth and children's ministry, and my mom being a child care provider in the secular arena,
Okay.
that there are just
Mhm.
some stark differences between the way that you do children's church and children's ministry and the way that you
Mhm.
run a professional child care center. My mom would call me on stuff and she'd be like, listen, the state would shut you down with
Right.
what you're doing. I want to ask you, what are some of the differences between, in business terms, running a child
Yes.
care facility versus
Hmm.
working in children's ministry? Kind of share with us, if you can, some differences in the way you do business
Yes.
as a formal child care facility. Talk to us.
Yes, so there are differences, especially in the state of Georgia. If you have a child care within a, a religious sect, you can get exempt from having state regulation. So, they don't have to come in and do state visits and so forth. You can file an exemption because you don't have as many hours as you would versus an in-home or a center. So that is
Wow.
one of the major things that you can do, and you also see a lot of like United Methodist churches, and other churches that do have these type of what is it, mommy mornings out, and you do that through filing an exemption through Bright from the Start, Georgia Bright from the Start. Any church or any type of nonprofit can definitely exempt from that. So I think that's one of the biggest things. And it is, I feel to an extent, it is also an advantage because, people, you can still operate as a business, and there are less regulations. And people don't have as much pressure. You can really focus on the kids and so forth. And not to say that there are not any rules that you have to follow because of exemption, but it's less strenuous. And then there's
Yeah.
less strain, and then also it could be a less of accidents as well within the child care facility. So that's one of the biggest things, the differences between that. But in early childhood, you can do any type of curriculum that you want, so that does not change. The array of curriculum and lessons and activities that you want to implement does not change. So that's the similarities to that. But as far as licensing, I think that is the major, thing that we can really dissect and analyze in that space. But
Excellent.
as far as curriculum and things, you can do whatever you want, but you can file an
I love it.
exemption. Mhm.
So I needed you years ago when I was working in children and youth ministry in the church, because a lot of parents,
Mhm.
they didn't understand why, although service ran long, our team
Mhm.
needed a break
Right.
because they're not accustomed to being with kids that long. In ministry,
Mhm.
you're dealing with
Mhm.
people who are volunteering their time, and they may
Right.
not have the training per se that a
Mhm.
professional
Mhm.
childcare professional, a
Mhm.
professional childcare worker would have. And so the
Mhm.
challenge
Yeah.
is when service ran longer, the time, you got them for 6 hours. It's like, Lord have mercy. So I really appreciate you for breaking that down. That one of the major
Yeah.
differences in church and professional childcare is the length of
Mhm.
time that you are
Mhm.
spending with the student. Great, great, great
Yeah.
conversation. So I want to talk to
Mhm.
you a little bit, Nancy, about transition, because tonight's show is about pivoting. That a lot of businesses are having to make a pivot, or business owners are having to change professions and change the way that they do what they do. So, Nancy, 15 years, I know you've endured some transition. So tell us, what was one of the biggest transitions you had to make in your career?
Um, trying to decide
Which one?
to stay in, trying to decide to stay in, trying to decide to stay in childcare. Um, because at
Okay.
one point I was like, okay, you be like, do I want to do something else? You know, but that was but I still decided to continue to do, childcare because it's something that I love. It's, sometimes it gets hard, and dealing with people, dealing with the
Mhm.
public, dealing with parents,
Mhm.
or just dealing
Yeah.
with kids itself. It's a lot. So at one point I wanted to do something else, but then my heart still come back to childcare.
So are you saying that childcare, being a childcare professional requires a certain degree of customer service.
Yes,
Is that what you're
it does.
saying? Okay, I would imagine that. But talk to us about
Yeah.
that. How does customer interaction impact your success in your industry? I think
When
you
when
hit on.
parents know, just like I get the kids ready for pre-K, right? So parents, when they come to visit me, the first thing that I let them know is education is first. So, doing that, people tell everyone else. If you're doing what you're supposed to, that's customer service, letting the parents know what you're doing and communicating with them, and talking to them each day once they drop the kids off or pick the kids up. If you're that's good customer service. If you're letting people know how their kids was doing that day, or what's going on with their kid, that they are, to me, that's good customer service, and people like that,
Gotcha.
and they will tell everyone else about it too.
Listen,
Hmm.
if you're
Yeah.
just joining us, we are having an amazing conversation with Jocelyn Jones and Nancy Russell Stewart about how do you make the pivot in your industry? How do you survive transitions well? So if you're watching right now, we want you to share this video on all of your social media platforms and let your friends and family know that we are bossing up on a Friday night as we get ready to celebrate just togetherness, family. Tomorrow's going to be the 4th of July. Many of us are going to have to be inside. But we just want to give you a little encouragement on Friday night. So please share this video. I have a couple of more questions. I want to ask you, Jocelyn, kind of talk to us about a transition that you've had to make in your profession and in your industry. What was the transition, and how did you weather that? And be honest with us. If you failed
Okay.
and you did not do good in the transition, our viewers need to know that too. That sometimes we don't do transition well. So tell us, what was the transition you had to make,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
how did you do it?
Well, the transitions that I made was, of course, like I said, I've been in childcare for a very long time, for about 24 years. And so, my heart is really in educating, adult educating in early childhood. And so, um, having an in-home childcare, being in the childcare center, um, I've been there so long. I know that I wanted to do that, make that change, but it was hard, it was scary, it was very scary. But it's something that I knew I wanted to do, to be a trainer. And so
Yeah.
that was something that was scary, but I know my passion. I know how passionate I am about training and wanting to be a trainer. So, just moving from the children into adult education in early childhood, that was something that was kind of scary for me, because it was something
Teacher,
new,
teacher.
to do
Mhm.
full time. Hmm.
I love it. I love it. You actually said something that's tweetable. So to our viewers, she just gave us something. She gave us something. She said, listen, you're gonna be afraid. If you're an entrepreneur, you're gonna experience some fear, but let your
Yeah.
passion overshadow your fears. Oh,
Yeah.
you said something then. Because one of my favorite writers, Brene Brown, she says that if you're going to dare greatly, meaning if you're going to live courageously, you're going to get your butt kicked at some point. And so, in any industry, you have to take risk in order to enjoy success. So, you guys are awesome. Y'all are really sharing some great wisdom with us tonight. Nancy, um,
Yes.
what were some of the events or challenges that caused you to question if you wanted to stay in this industry? Because you said it earlier. I kind of let you think you were going to get by, but I want to come back to you because you mentioned that it was the personalities, it was the people. But can you give us an example? Don't call any names because they might be watching, but give us an example of some of the challenges that cause you to question, do I really want to continue doing this?
Sometimes people don't want to pay. So
Ah,
that's the thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
when you're doing childcare in home, some people think you're a babysitter, that
Mm-hmm.
you're just babysitting their children, but it's not. You're babysitting their kids. You're learning their kids, and so if I'm giving my
yeah.
all to the kids and to you too, to the parents, I feel like I should get paid for it. And some people, they'll
Mm-hmm.
run out of, you don't kept the kids 2 weeks. Say they said they'll pay you in 2 weeks. Sometimes they don't. They're that's the biggest thing. People don't want to pay. They want you to do something for them, but they don't want to pay for you what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
Yes,
wow,
that
wow.
is so
So,
true.
yeah, you brought up, see, this is good. This is good for our viewing audience. And I believe what you shared is relevant for any industry. So I want to ask you, Jocelyn, how do you get people, you're someone who trains the trainer, right? So how do you get people to
Mm-hmm.
understand the importance of patronizing your child care facilities? How do you get those child care professionals that you train to own their own facility? How do you get them in the habit of not being afraid to say, yes, your tuition for your child is due this week? How do you, how do you, I think you understand my question. How do you
Yes.
drive that home with professionals? Yeah. Talk to me.
Um, you really just have to be very well, your experiences help to relate and help people understand the importance of different matters. And so I like to use a lot of stories and experiences on how important it is to understand that your worth. And that's something that we really have to put forward, that we have to know our worth. We have to understand that we are giving a service, and it's a service that brings functionality into the home, so that parents are able to work, parents are able to function each and every day. So we have to make sure that we put ourselves in the forefront. Number one, because we are giving a service, we are providing a service for customers. So it's important to understand your worth. It's important to understand your value and how valuable you are to the industry and also to society as well. So you really have to look at a broader scope to really understand and really break down the importance of, payments, for the importance of parent and family partnership. All of that goes hand in hand because, it's really just, we all need each other to survive. So it's important to understand that those factors, having parent partnerships, um, creating safe spaces and opportunities for your parents to come to you when things are going wrong, financially, or going wrong within the home, because we need to know what's going on. We have to stay abreast of what's going on with our children and families, because in turn, our monies are coming, mainly from the parents. So if the parents have things going on in the home and in their lives that's bring an imbalance, then it will bring that same imbalance will also follow into your own business. So you have to keep
So
those
stop
things in
right there.
mind. You have to have parent partnerships. That's really important.
Listen, stop
That's
right there.
so
Because
true.
if you say
Hmm.
anything else, I'm not going to be able to track all of these tweetable uh, quotes that you've given us. So stop right there. Let me summarize. Let me summarize some of what you two have shared, because I think it's very helpful for our viewers. If you're
Hmm.
in an industry or you're in a job where people may not necessarily see the value, and in some cases may not be able to financially compensate you for the service you
Hmm.
provide,
Hmm. Hmm.
there are three helpful
Hmm.
hints both of you have given us. Nancy, you said that if you are giving them a great product, they know that you're teaching the kids are learning something, then that should motivate them to want to patronize your services, right?
Hmm.
And then I hear
Hmm.
Yes.
Jocelyn say, know your worth and don't back down. That is something I need you guys to post in the comments. As a business owner, as an entrepreneur, if you're going to survive this season of just stress and just this season where businesses are having to close their doors, know your worth. Don't back down. If you're in a position to continue doing what you're doing gainfully and you're providing a quality service, listen, it's okay to be a stickler to say, hey, I need to be compensated. So we have probably about 3 minutes left. And I want our viewers to know how they can reach you guys if they want to patronize your services. Boss Up is really not just about conversation and empowerment, but it's also about exposure and sharing with our viewing audience the skill sets and some of the amazing businesses that we have in our community. So I want to start with you, Nancy. Just kind of tell us how people can reach you if they want to patronize your business.
You can reach me on Facebook at Nancy Russell Stewart. Also,
Thank
I
you.
have a page. I have a page, Jen's Daycare, Jen's Family
Yes.
Childcare Home, on Facebook. And you can call me. My number is 404-935-8147, and call me anytime between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m., 6:30 p.m.
Thank you so much.
And
Thank you. We appreciate you sharing with us today. We've enjoyed having you on Boss Up. Jocelyn, it's your turn. Tell us how we can reach you if we want to patronize your services.
Yes. So, if you would like to have, I also teach the seat. Those of you who are in early childhood and you're a member, staff member, or director. I teach the child development courses, the CDA, the 120 hours. And if you're interested in that, you can reach me at Knowledge Giver 28. That's on Instagram. I am also on Facebook. Just look me up, Jocelyn Dion, like Dion Warwick. I got her middle name, Jones, on Facebook.
Awesome.
I'm on Facebook. And also you can you can also reach me on Facebook as well, for Kappa Learning Group, but it's under Knowledge Giver on Facebook, and you can reach me there. And also my number is 678-754-3164.
Thank you so much. Listen, that's going to conclude our Boss Up show for tonight. I want to thank you, Jocelyn, and you, Nancy, for just being such great guests, sharing a wealth of knowledge. Also want to take a moment to thank our business ministry under the leadership, you're welcome, of Sabrina Wilburn and Derek Grissom, and also our producers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you. Listen, in the words of our pastor, Dr. E. Dewey Smith Jr., if you will be good to God, God will be good to you. Have a safe weekend, family. We love you. Boss Up.
oh my